Hi folks, and welcome to Gathering Energy's Yin Yoga practice. Today you're going to need yourself, your mat, some blankets, a cushion, and a couple of blocks. Find a comfortable seat and we'll get started. Hi folks, welcome to today's practice with me, Graham, from Gathering Energy Yoga. Don't forget to subscribe below for updates and new weekly videos. Let's get started. So we're going to start today's practice in a kneeling position. You might need a block or two just underneath your seat, just enough to take the pressure off the knees and the ankles if you don't find kneeling comfortable. You can take your hands onto your knees or onto your lap, sitting up nice and tall, closing your eyes if it feels safe to do so. And we're just going to start the practice with a few moments of breath awareness. Breathing in through the mouth or the nose, whatever feels good for you. And just bringing your attention to the inhalation and exhalation. Just watching that breath as it comes into the body and just watching it as it leaves the body. Maybe an awareness of the subtle rise and fall of the belly and the chest. And it's in these moments before we practice that we can allow ourselves a little bit of time to tune into us. Tune into where your body's at today, where your mind is at. Where your energy levels are. There's no right or wrong way to feel when you come to your practice, but it's good to acknowledge it before you move. And then deepening that breath, filling the belly and the chest, expanding into the body. And sighing out, breathing in nice and deep. Sighing out, elongating that exhalation, breathing in. Nice long sigh out. Last one. Allowing the breath to come back to normal. There's no particular breathing techniques needed in a yin practice other than just observing your breath. And then opening your eyes, allowing the light of the room to filter in. We're going to come down into our first hold of today. So you can move your blocks out of the way. I'm going to take a blanket just for my knees. Taking the blanket a little wider than the mat. We're going to come down into child's pose. But you're going to take your knees as wide as, maybe a little wider than your mat, with your toes touching. If you don't find child's pose easy, you don't find it easy to take your hips and pelvis down towards your heels, stay a little higher if you need to in the hip area. Reaching the hands out in front, letting the forearms touch to the floor, letting the forehead come to the floor. Relaxing here. Or if you've taken full child's pose, allowing the body to sit in between the legs. Allow the forearms to come down. Let your forehead, maybe even your chin or chest, come down into the mat. We're going to be here for a few minutes. Child's pose is often seen as a restorative posture. But when you hold it for an extended amount of time, you're working deeper into the yin tissues within the joints and the ligaments, the bones themselves. So just allowing the breath in the body to sink towards the floor. Really letting go of holding on anywhere. So use the breath as a guide to go around the body, looking for parts that are holding on to tension or holding you in place, and try and allow them to just let go. Allow yourself to really sink into the floor or the space that you've created between the body. So ask yourself, where am I feeling this? How intensely am I feeling it? Do I need to go a little deeper? Or have I gone too far? Am I unable to hold this without moving? First principles, appropriate depth that allows you to hold it for time while still. And then taking 3 nice, deep, long breaths, expanding into the back of the body. Notice where this breath goes. We're preparing to move. One more. And bringing the hands back towards the body is almost as if you're coming to a kneeling position. You're going to take yourself up to all fours, moving the knees back into alignment with the body. Just holding here in a neutral spine in all fours. Breathing here. We're going to come to a little toe squat. So my favorite, but not everybody else's favorite. So I do this most days. Most times that I practice, I do a toe squat. Really helps the soles of my feet. So we're going to push the toes, all of the toes down into the mat, especially the little pinky toe. That can cause you a little bit of problem. We're going to walk the body back towards the heels. So this would be stage 1. So feeling some of the weight in your hands, some of the weight pushing down into your knees and your toes, but not all of your body weight. If that feels good for you, then maybe you can take your full body weight into the toes and the heels. If this gets too much, just rising up, breathing, coming back down. Otherwise, just holding here. Connecting back to that breath. I know for some this is a very excruciating and uncomfortable position to be in. But Yin can teach you endurance. And then again, taking those 3 deep breaths, expanding into the body. Noticing where the breath goes when you're in a different hold. Preparing to move, starting to take the hands down onto the floor, bringing yourself back to all fours. Unhook those toes or free the toes, tap them into the mat. Just tapping them here. Should feel quite nice. Moving into the toes. Breathing here for just a second. So from here, we're going to come into a dragon sequence. We're going to go through a few different dragon holds. Some you'll find more comfortable than others. So remember, you can always go back a level if you need to, or go take it down a little bit. So you're going to need your blocks if you have them, just positioning them near the top of the mat. You could use a couple of blankets, or you could use a cushion if you've got. I'm going to put it to the right side and take my right knee and shin. So I'm going to take my left leg forward, and I'm going to maybe move that leg back a little. So just adjusting so that you're feeling a little bit of a pull through that right hip flexor, through the front of the quads as well. And we're just going to come to baby dragon. So hands come out in front, pushing down into the blocks, maybe reaching the toes away. Holding here, lifting the head and the chest a little, so you might feel a little compression into the back. And we're just going to hold here. This is going to be our first position. Baby dragon. Again, noticing where do you feel compression? Where do you feel tension? Where might you be holding any discomfort? Can you take the breath to that area to create more space? We're just breathing here. The second and third principle of Yin. The first was appropriate depth. So taking it in as far, about 70% towards that cliff edge, but not over. So you've got feelings. You're feeling stressed, but it's not too much that you can't hold it. We're then here for an appropriate time. So we're here for time. Yin tissues need stress or stimulated by stress over a period of time. And stillness. So we need to be able to hold the position without twitching, without constantly moving, so that the yin tissues have time to stress. That's what helps them grow strong. They're not like the yang tissues, your blood, your muscles, your skin. They need heat and movement. So you might be building up some feeling in different parts of the body here, so just be aware of that. You might not be feeling that much at all, and there's going to be some options for you in a moment. So from here we're going to come to a winged dragon. So just taking some weight down into the right hand, maybe moving the left block to the front, walking that left foot out so that you can take your hands inside the body, moving the other block to the top. So we're now inside. If this is uncomfortable for you, which it can be for some people in their hips or hip joint, inner thigh, knee, we're going to allow the leg to fall out to the side for a winged dragon. So you're lifting your big toe, arch of the foot, kind of balancing on the pinky side of the foot. Naturally, that means that your ankle falls, your knee falls, and your hip moves out, so that you're creating more space here rather than a downward force into that left foot. So we're going to hold again here. Not as long this time. We're just going to get used to what this feels like. If this feels too easy, you could plant the foot down and you could lower yourself a little closer to the floor, down onto your forearms. Or you could use the block to lift yourself even higher with the foot out wide, or even into the winged dragon. So just moving about here in this winged variation to see what works for you. Again, noticing where you're building up. If you're not able to hold still, then maybe take it back a level. Make it a little easier for yourself. So wherever you are, coming back to a winged dragon if possible. Take the right hand nice and flat into the floor, lifting the left hand onto the left knee. We're going to take a twisted dragon. So to take the twisted dragon, left hand, left knee, holding your weight in the right, starting to look towards the left. So your right pelvis drops a little closer to the floor. Your knee might fall out a little bit more. We're not taking a really strong twist. We're just allowing the body to twist around. You can allow the right side to drop slightly so that your arm kind of stacks into the shoulder, holding you here. And just breathing. Always coming back to the breath. And then breathing to come out of the twisted winged dragon. So lifting the chest up, maybe taking that left hand down to the floor. We're going to walk that left foot in slightly, taking our left hand to the outside. We're going to come back towards dragon splits. It's not as scary as it sounds. We're taking the hips backwards. So you might know this as Hanumanasana or half splits, where you can pull the toes, really stretch into the calf muscle, maybe down into the hamstring. If it's comfortable for you here, you might be able to come down, sitting your bum down onto the right heel for a folded dragon split. So you're taking it a variation between the two, relaxing into the head, hands, arms. Just breathing here. Towards a dragon splits or folded. If it's uncomfortable on the toes to have them flexed and you've got the cushion, you can let the toes go. And if you've gone too far, you can always bring it up a little. You don't need to straighten into that front leg. Just holding a variation of dragon splits that works for you, that you can hold nice and still. Perhaps for some there might be an extension where you want to now maybe move as we're halfway, stretching that front left leg forwards, taking the right leg back, working closer towards full dragon splits. If you've come to full dragon splits and it's feeling a bit tough to hold it here, again, you can introduce the blocks, giving you a little bit of height off the floor. This can feel nice. Wherever you are, maybe increasing the breath, expanding into the body. We're preparing ourselves to move. Breathing in again. Bringing that left foot back down onto the floor as if we're coming to the baby dragon again. Moving any of the blocks out of the way. From here, turn into those back toes. Let's take ourselves to downward facing dog as a little counter pose. So bringing yourself towards a downward facing dog and just walk the dog. Up and down on both sides. Noticing how different you might feel on your left in comparison to your right. Maybe you feel a little taller. We're going to come down and do the other side. So coming down towards all fours. Maybe moving the cushion over if you're using it. For the left knee, taking the right foot towards the top of the mat. Letting the toes reach away. Bringing ourselves to that baby dragon. Maybe looking towards the horizon. So stretching through or lengthening into the spine. Noticing that both sides of the body might be different. And just reconnecting into the breath. It's often in these juicy holds that you really start to understand the connection in yin between the breath, the body and the mind. As we try to hold something for longer, if it's causing us discomfort, often the mind wants to give up long before the body does. So don't let the mind get in the way if you're holding it here. Use the breath to bring calmness into the mind and the body. Another few breaths here in baby dragon. Another 3. 2. And 1. Maybe moving that right block away. Maybe even the left as well, taking the left hand to the floor, walking that right foot out towards the edge of the mat. So winged dragon, taking both hands inside the body. Letting that right foot fall, or right foot fall to the right, so it's balanced on the pinky again. The arch of the foot and the big toe lift up. Knee falls out to the side. Just holding here. Again, remember, you can bring variations to this. If you're quite confident in your dragon lunge, you could maybe take yourself down onto your forearms with your winged dragon. Or as I said before, you could bring the foot flat, lifting yourself up onto a block. That's really going to pull into these hip flexors at the front as you lift yourself up. So don't always go with the same as what you did on the other side. Winged dragon's really nice. It can relieve or release off any pressure into the ankle, knee and hip area, allowing you to be here for longer. Another couple of breaths. Then we're going to do our winged dragon twist. So we're pushing down into the left hand, taking some of the body's weight through the shoulder down towards the hands, taking your right hand to your right knee, maybe letting this left pelvis drop towards the floor a little, taking the twist to look towards the right. Again, we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. So working towards your cliff edge. We're working into endurance here. Remember, if anything gets too much, allow yourself an escape route. Remember, you can always come back to baby dragon or just winged dragon. You don't have to hold the twist. Just don't allow the breath, or don't lose control of your breath. Let's take another 3 deep breaths in, expanding into the body. Knowing that this is the preparation to move. One more. Bringing that right hand maybe down to the floor, bringing the right foot flat. Let's walk the right leg in towards the center. Oh, make as much noise as you need to. We're going to lift the hips up, taking them backwards towards dragon split. Again, working with your body. You could stay a little higher as I am just now, flexing the toes back to me. Or you can keep a softness in the knee, allowing your belly to push into the thigh. Or if you have the mobility or you find it comfortable, you could take it all the way down to a folded dragon split. If your back toes get sore, you can always let them fall also. Just remembering to take it to where's right for you. We're going to feel it up that calf muscle, through the back of the knee, up towards the hamstrings, wrapping round into the glutes. Maybe you can always take it further if you're more accustomed to the half splits or full dragon splits. Reaching up or folding as well. Remembering, even if you've taken it here, you can always take the blocks. Allow the body to lift up. Try not to hold any tension through the legs. Trying to allow the arms to be a prop, allowing you to hold here. Three breaths. Expanding into the body. preparing to move. So let's bring that right foot back towards the body. Let's move the blocks out of the way. Take ourselves to downward facing dog. Oh, step that foot. Make as much noise as you like. Pedaling into the feet here or walking the dog. Doing this. Feeling length coming back into the body. And then from downward facing dog, we're going to come back towards child's pose. So bringing yourself back down onto your knees. Maybe moving the cushion if you're using it out of the way. We're going to bring our knees as wide as the mat, maybe a little wider using your blanket. Toes touch, starting to take your hips back towards your heels. Remembering that not for everybody that's going to be achievable. So coming to where's good for you, hips a little higher or hips all the way to the heels. Let the hands stretch out. Bring the chest or the forehead down to the ground. We're only going to be here for a couple of minutes. Allowing again, as we did at the start of our practice, the body to melt or fall into the space between you and the floor. And then breathing in nice and deep, expanding into the body again. Preparing ourselves to move. One more. Maybe walking the hands back towards the body, lifting the head and the chest, bringing yourself up to all fours, lifting the knees in back to neutral tabletop, or all fours. From here, we're going to come down into our last position, our last hold of today's practice, which is butterfly. So if you find it difficult to sit up straight, you could always sit on your cushion or roll up the blanket, giving you a little bit of height, allowing you to fall forwards. If it's uncomfortable to have your knees up, you can always take the blocks. Give yourself something to lean into, which can feel really nice here as well. The further your feet are from your body, the less pressure there is in the knees, and the less pressure there is into your hips also. So we'll do a few rotations. So just bringing the body forwards, taking it either to the left or the right, leaning back slightly, taking it to circling through the space in between. Take it in the opposite direction. So just have a feel for your body here. Anything kind of shouting at you as you come forwards? If it is, do you need to readjust your feet? Do you need to prop up under your knees? And then as you start to sink, just allow the chest to come forward. Your arms, you could be leaning into the feet. You could be into the space in between your legs. You might be a little higher. You might wish to grab that cushion if you're not sitting on it and just hug it into the body here and fold forwards. Just bringing yourself to a comfortable butterfly. There's no perfect alignment here. The head can drop, the spine can round, the shoulders can fall. knees might start to fall towards the floor. You might be able to fold a little further forwards. At any point you can lift yourself up if it becomes too uncomfortable. Otherwise, we're here for another 5 nice, deep, long breaths. And then as you breathe in, maybe starting to straighten through the spine. So bringing yourself back towards your sit bones. Unfurling the spine. Maybe the head is last to come up. Looking forwards. Breathing here, opening your eyes if they were closed. Moving any blocks that you might have had under your knees. And then use your hands to squeeze the knees up. Maybe take the feet a little wider. Lean backwards into your hands. We're going to we're going to windshield wiper. Can't even say it right. To either side. Internal, external rotation of the hips. Just bringing us out of our butterfly pose. You can go as far as you like, or where's comfortable for you. And then from here, we're going to come to a seated meditation or seated breath awareness for a few minutes, just to close our practice. So finding a comfortable seat for you. It could be the same. It could be kneeling with the block as we did when we first came into our practice today. It could be cross-legged, it could be half lotus, or it could be full lotus. Bringing the attention to the breath. Maybe closing your eyes if it feels safe to do so. Hands can be on your knees or maybe towards your lap. Try and relax into the shoulders. Releasing into the jaw, the forehead, the back of the neck. Bringing your awareness into the body. A subtle awareness of the in-breath and the out-breath. If your mind begins to wander, just bring yourself back to the inhalation and exhalation of your own breath. Follow the breath as it comes into the body, down the back of the throat, into the belly, into the lungs. Watching the breath as it leaves the body, the subtle contraction of the stomach, the breath leaving through the back of the throat, out. Just bringing yourself back to the breath. And you can, of course, stay in seated meditation or breath awareness for as long as you wish. You could even bring yourself down to Shavasana. But from me today, thank you for joining me for the practice, and I hope to see you again soon.